I felt very comfortable because I asked a young person I saw, "Where's room 20?" And they said, "Look for people over 30, and that'll be the room." That's great. I've been 30 once, 30 twice. I'm working on being 30 the third time, so I felt very comfortable coming to this room. I don't have any slides. You just have to pay attention. There'll be a test afterwards. My concept to talk about tonight is that we have a problem in this Commonwealth. First of all, I don't think any of you would disagree that the source of job creation in the Commonwealth is small businesses. And if that's the case, we have a problem. I'd like to describe what I think the problem is and what we can do about it. In 2006, the Census Bureau said that there were 138,551 small businesses in the state that had 100 employees or less. And those companies had about 1 million employees, 1,025,000 employees. And if that's the case, that would be between 50 and 20% of the total state employment. And they had an annual payroll of $43 million. Well, that was 2006, so it's probably a little more today. There'll be fewer companies, a little more payroll, about that same level. And we know that the banks and financial institutions are shedding jobs. We know now even that good old standby in this state, the health service industry is shedding jobs. So we really are turning back to small companies to create jobs in the Commonwealth. But we have a problem with it. Let me talk about it. Some economists agree that small companies create about 80% of the jobs nationally. Some think it's higher. Young companies create more, of course, because they're growing, and so that's where the jobs are. Young companies, young entrepreneurs, growing companies. Any small businesses in the room? Anybody running a small company in the room? Great, you can help me at the end of the. Any bankers in the room? Any recovering bankers? And then okay, I'll go on my own thing, I guess. Here's the issue. Right now, how do we feed the system? How do we provide financing to small companies? What do we do? Well, the answer is that we all do it the same. Whether you're a big bank, whether you're a small bank, whether you're a quasi-public agency, whether you're a nonprofit, we all do it the same way. Here's what we do. We first interview the borrower. Then we go visit the borrower at his or her plant or his place of business. We analyze their historical financials. We usually ask for 3 years. Then we analyze their projections. We ask for 2 years, 1 year by months, and the next 2 or 3 years just by summarized. Then we evaluate the collateral if there's any, see if there's any collateral at the company. Then we check references, talk with other banks. Then we have our attorney draft a loan agreement and loan documentation with every condition and every default provision and every negative covenant we can think of, and everything you can throw into the kitchen sink is thrown into that loan document. Loan document for a company with $100,000 is about this thick, $200,000 is this thick, $300,000 is this thick, just keeps growing. And I'm sure the borrowers usually don't read them. They pay their lawyers to read them, but of course we charge them for their lawyers to read them. We can't write them. And I'm not sure we're even safer with all that, but we do that. We throw the book at borrowers, and some lawyers tell me, unless the borrower is in default when they sign it, they haven't done the job. So we throw many obstacles at the way small companies, loan agreements and promissory notes and covenants that they don't even know where they are when they start. Then we have a closing, and we give them a check. Unless it's a serial check in construction, we give them serial checks. And we sometimes ask for personal guarantee. And I can't tell you how many discussions over kitchen tables there have probably been in this country when the one spouse goes home and says, "Dear, I just got $100,000 for the plant for my machine shop. By the way, I signed a personal guarantee." And they say, "You did what?" "I signed a personal guarantee and I put up the house." So they sign a personal guarantee, and now everything that they own is on in hot. And the wife or the husband says, "Great, great." Then after we have that closing, we issue the check, then we wait. We wait for them to send in the payments. We wait for them to send in their annual monthly statements. We wait. And if there's a problem, if we don't get a statement, we go visit the company. We may go visit just to see if they're still there some month. But we just wait. We sit and wait. That's how we lend to small businesses in this country. That's a big bank, small bank, nonprofit. That's how all companies lend to small businesses in the state. By small businesses, I mean companies that are between, say, they're doing revenue of $50,000, $500,000 to $2, $3, maybe to $5 million. Above that, to get to middle market companies, and we do the same thing. So it's all the same, no matter the size of the company. Let me let's turn to think about how venture capital companies invest in companies. And it doesn't matter whether you're Bain, whether you're Greylock, whether you invest a minimum of $5 to $10 million, whether you're Village Ventures, you only invest $1 million. We do the same thing. Here's how venture capital companies invest in companies. First, VC firms start with the industry. Is the industry growing? Is it shrinking? Is it in expansion mode? Or is it mature? What's it doing? Then they study the business plan. You've got to have a business plan. If it's more than 5 pages, you won't get read. But you've got to have a business plan and send it in. Study the competition. Then they get to know the strengths and weaknesses of the management team. There has to be a management team. You can't invest in one person. It's got to be a management team. Who's your controller? Who's your finance CFO? Who's your marketing person? There has to be a management team. So you have to invest in a team. Then financials. There have to be some revenue history if the company has a product, maybe not. Then they spend a lot of time with the projections. And there are people in Connecticut that are living in very nice houses because they're venture capital companies. They said to the entrepreneur, do you believe your projections? If you believe your projections, then put up your house as collateral. And the projections, of course, didn't work, so now the venture capital company has the house. So they do a lot of, venture capital companies do a lot of work with projections, and they tear them apart, put them together, analyze the product, they analyze the cost in a million ways. What will it cost if I could buy 1,000 units, 10 million units? Then they negotiate the settlement, and they negotiate the investment, the stock price, ownership, all that. They don't ask for personal guarantees, but you must put some equity. So that's where the house comes in. Finally, they make the investment, and they have a closing. Maybe several investors join them, and they even reserve cash for follow-on investments, knowing full well that the first investment's not going to do it. Unlike the bank that says, good luck with that money. But the venture capital company says, here's some money I have to reserve for this investment. And then here's where the big change occurs. Here's where the big difference is between venture capital investing and small business lending. Here's the huge difference. After the investment is made, the venture capital company says, now we go to work. Now we go to work. Now we're going to work with you on your cash plan, your marketing plan, your inventory control, your competition. Now I'm going to work with you. I'm going to marry you. I'm going to get in bed with you. And they do that. They go on their boards. They live with that company after that. Why do they do that? For the simple reason they know that even a business degree doesn't give you all the skills you need to run a company. They know that that business degree only gives you the start, only tells you what the questions are, and that only experience and other experience can help you run a company, and that there are going to be so many questions, so many problems that you have never seen before, that you need the help of skilled people to make that company run. Venture capital people know that. And so they go to bed with the companies every day, and they live with them. It doesn't always work. I've known venture capital investments that invested in sporting goods stores, retail stores in California, but they had a drought in California in years and they all failed. I've heard of others that had invested in airline companies, of course, and they had crashes, so the airline crashes. So it doesn't always work, but that's how they go about it. They go about getting in bed with the company because they know that no one person, and not even a team of people, can know all the things you need to know to run a company. So they do that regularly. That's how they go about it. You might say, well, why doesn't a bank do that? Why doesn't a bank help a company in the same way? The banks know that. Why does the bank do that? And there are a couple of answers. One is cost. Any money that the bank puts into that deal other than the interest rate reduces their net interest margin, so it reduces their profit margin of the company. But the real answer is litigious paranoia, which means, and the correct way of saying that is lender's liability. If a bank lends money to a company, secured loan, and then offers that company some advice which the company takes, buy this, don't buy that, do it this way, don't buy it that way, do it that way, make that choice, don't make that choice, and then the company goes into bankruptcy, the judge says, Mr. Banker, you're really in management. You can't be both in management and a secured lender. So I'm going to say you've already chosen being a manager because you've been giving that company advice and have taken it. So your security on that collateral is gone. You are now just a general creditor. You just are your right on that collateral is the same as someone who shipped freight today, someone who shipped pizza this afternoon. You have a liability. So banks say, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. We're not giving anybody advice. Nobody gets advice from us. It's anyway the same reason that you can't, when you go to a bank for lunch, you can't have a drink in the dining room. Because somebody had a drink once and they signed their loan agreement. And the court said, you got them drunk, so they don't have to sign it. So banks will not give you any help at all when you are a small company. They say, here's a check, good luck, send the interest rate payment here, goodbye. Well, that's how it happens. That's what we all do. That's what all small lenders in this country go through. They get a check, small borrowers, they get a check, they are told where to send the interest payment, where to send the principal payment, where to send their monthly statements. Good luck, goodbye, let us know if it's working, see you later. Unlike venture capital companies, where they get in bed with the owner and get in bed with the company, and they work on problems with the company every single day. Well, banks won't do it. Well, who will do it? Well, maybe the state will do it. Fortunately, the legislature passed a bill this summer, and the governor signed a bill this summer, consolidating 2 state agencies. One of them is the Community Development Finance Corporation, formed in the 1970s to help community development corporations do businesses. The second came out of the old investment services program called the Trust. It lends to troubled businesses. So the governor signed a bill that puts these 2 companies together to form a Mass Growth Capital Corporation. It's just begun to do business. It'll have a president probably named in the next month or so, and it'll be the state's main small business lending arm. There's a difference, and here's the difference. It'll be capitalized with $33 million of capital from both of those 2 companies. Their portfolios will be combined. It'll get another $40 million of money from the state, and probably can apply for $22 million from the feds right away. So it'll probably be about an $80 or $90 million loan fund right away. But here's the real difference. The legislation allows this company to provide technical business assistance to companies and guarantees to companies. It allows the Mass Growth Capital Corporation to literally get in bed with a company and provide the kind of company the help that a venture capital company would provide. That's different. A bank can't do it, and an insurance company loan fund won't do it. Nobody else will do that because they're afraid of lender liability, really lender paranoia, litigious paranoia. But the Mass Growth Capital Corporation has the capacity to get in bed with a company, change the way small business is done, and lend loans in this Commonwealth to make a difference. After the loan is closed by Mass Growth Capital Corporation, Mass Growth Capital can say, can learn with the owner, what do you need? You need someone to help you straighten out the inventory, someone to create a new marketing system, someone to create a new business plan, someone to price your inventory right. We can do all those things. Mass Growth Capital will be able to do all those things by buying the right skilled help to go into the company. And that's a change, that's a sea change. Here's the hope. The hope that if Mass Growth Capital Corporation works with banks long enough and demonstrates this works, banks will begin to find ways to help companies more with less fear. It's going to take a long haul because banks are very fearful of being thrown out of the right line in the bankruptcy court. But if Mass Growth Capital Corporation will work with enough banks, do enough loans, show them that it works, we may turn the corner and finally begin to lend to small companies and not require that every small business owner is a business genius, because they're not. We finally turn the corner. We know that if you know how to cook a hamburger, or put up drywall, or repair a car, or do something with fabric, you know how to do that, but you may not know how to run your whole business. Venture capital companies know that from the start. Lenders, banks don't. The new Mass Growth Capital Corporation uses that principle to say, we need to help small companies in the Commonwealth run their businesses because we know they know how to do something, but they know how to run the whole business and solve all business problems. It's a sea change. And I'm very hopeful that with the right approach and with the right people running the company and with the right banks starting off with it, it'll change how banks look at companies as well. And have banks looking for partners to be able to go into companies to straighten things out as opposed to staying far away from them because they're fearful of what their liabilities will be. It's a sea change, it's an important one, and the governor signed that bill, and the company is now incorporated, it's ready to start rolling.